All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Symphogear, Season 3, Episode 6. We had
right.
many new developments happen last episode. We had
indeed.
jokes about steaks being burned because apparently they didn't have the secret ingredient of love, which might be a little bit disturbing. But also, Genjiro has a brother who's very important, high up in the government, did a lot of helpful things. He's also sort of Tsubasa's dad, but, you know, whatever. And then Kirika and Shirabe fought very hard. And then Chris and Tsubasa show up in their new duds to save them from Mika. Okay, let's go.
Let's go. I mean, that's basically where we're at. Yeah.
Hibiki is still recovering. That's a thing.
And let's see what these new duds can do. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Oh my god. Yeah.
We
Holy
went
shit.
all the way out here. And we did call back to the thing that I was kind of talking about, but I was just interpreting it very incorrectly, is that element of what she was doing was tied to the Symphogear on some level. But it's something that's okay, it's an aspect of the relics. This is something that they're doing here.
Okay.
Tapping into that berserk thing that she did there.
And
but it's not something that's unique to Hibiki. This is just something that anyone with Symphogear could theoretically be able to do if they, had some other stuff that, transmuted things a little bit.
Right.
And that's where I think that there might be still something unique with what Hibiki's was, because hers didn't involve any Project Ignite stuff.
No, that's true. Yeah, she just got her arm chomped off and then, okay.
Yeah.
So, is the villain dead?
Is Carol dead?
Is Carol dead? Because
I'm going to say no.
I don't think so either.
Because we already have a homunculus of sorts that is very much like a clone of her, and she seems to have very similar kind of stuff going on with her, so where she's probably not going to be like the new vessel for Carol necessarily, but
there could be another homunculus. She could secretly already be Carol the entire time and has just been playing them. Yep. Because the development, the reveal of, oh no, I don't even remember necessarily why I'm doing this. Right? Like, not entirely. Because
well, she burned it up literally in that fight. She did know just recently. That was why we started off the episode with a memory.
Right, exactly.
Meaning that she burned that memory up in that fight right there.
And after, in the previous episode, we got the whole deal of, like, there's a secret ingredient, right? And it's love, of course, right? But even those cherished memories, she'll burn those up too.
Yeah.
That's good. Like, that's
really good.
That is a great way to get me to believe the convictions of the antagonist, and also to put them as a mirror of, an inverse, rather, of Hibiki, because Hibiki is all about hand-holding, which is, like, the moments and cherishing those connections with her friends and everything. And this is burn it all if you need to.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's based around a little bit of an idea that the father said, which was, as we understand the world, that's the beginning of then being able to truly understand each other. Yeah. And I disagree. I think that actually the understanding of the world is a thing that primarily puts too much emphasis on the separation of the world from other people.
Oh, okay.
Meaning that, generally speaking, I would say the understanding in that regard is something that is, never going to truly attain any kind of level of, ultimate understanding. But it's that understanding comes in the moments. It comes in the sacrifice. It comes in the time spent that then becomes immortalized in memory.
Sure, not something as clinical and cold as understanding the world.
Well, right, but basically the idea that the understanding of the world is important, but it's not the first step. It's just a step. It's not even really that important of a step. In the same way as understanding people requires you to spend time with them, understanding the world is like, yes, it's
right. That
it's
certainly
already,
it certainly won't hurt.
Yeah, it certainly won't hurt. But it's just another aspect of understanding other things where you need to put your focus there.
Okay.
So I would say, if anything, like weirdly enough, maybe that's where this character has a little bit of their focus being put on something that would be about breaking the world. Because it's something that might be holding people back from truly understanding each other.
Right.
Or it's something where, if we need to have the world, be reset in some dramatic, Armageddon style fashion, something else will be born from that she was, she found as an answer beyond what her father was just, was searching for.
One of the things that I'm really excited to see if they do, because while I think some form of Carol or other will still be alive, still be around somehow,
And it could literally just be the homunculus that's been helping them.
Right, exactly. It could totally be Elf-9. But what if it's something where we actually just witnessed the tragic backstory of the antagonists?
Sure.
In that their leader, the person who created them and all of this stuff, just killed themselves for the sake of their convictions, right? And then they basically just have the signal from those like banners, ribbons, or whatever, lowering down of, I'm dead, continue with the mission. Right?
They've now upgraded the Symphogear to the level at which when you absorb this aspect of it, then you'll be able to do the next stage of things.
Right.
There.
Like it could be a whole new foundational piece that is then motivation for these auto scores, and then we can get to know them as individuals and how they related to Carol and what it means to them that she's gone, right?
Sure.
Like, as far as situations where Hibiki would have her work cut out for her, hand-holding the antagonists, right? Especially now, right? She killed herself after being defeated by you, right? Theoretically, if you hadn't defeated her, maybe she wouldn't have done that, right?
Sure.
Like, so...
But a cursed melody like that isn't going to save anybody.
Right.
And this is something that's been repeated to Hibiki a lot more and more and more over the course of the series. And it's a consistent theme, is that Hibiki, you're not some great hero here. Pretty much every antagonist has brought that up, that what she's doing is not something that's helping. And
yet it's worked eventually.
Well, yeah, but we'll see what they were meaning maybe by that.
Right.
In this instance here, where no, hand-holding and Nakama, that was denied because they bit on the dust of disintegration.
Exactly.
So, we'll see what that means in the permanent sense, probably in the next episode or 3. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that even if this is the end of this Carol here, some other form of Carol, given that she was able to, surpass the limits of the mortal body, live for hundreds of years, has crazy transmutation abilities of some kind, has also, what was her name?
Elf-9.
Elf-9? Yeah. That's something that we still have yet to fully understand.
It's something where Symphogear as a show has constantly set up these stakes that it then undercuts in hilarious and hype ways, right?
Yeah.
But as a result of that, we kind of don't really feel danger. Like in the previous episode when Shirabe and Kirika were like fighting and, oh no, we can't, beat Mika, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't worried at all about them, right? Not in the slightest. But disintegrate, like watching a body crumble into dust, while we do know of the ways that we think it could be taken back, kind of, you also, like, that's a whole new level of, like, you can't take back.
Level.
Like, like,
which is why in some level it's not that they're going to take it back. It's that it's just going to be some aspect of what has gone into their plan that makes this all a part of the plan.
Sure, yeah.
And we'll just get to see what that is later.
Right.
But, Carol stepping in and revealing maybe in some ways what their true form was, given that they would be an immortal being. The actual state that their body is in is irrelevant. So
maybe this relic was like one of the ways that she was able to live for so long is because it was able to like have control over like her body, age, etc. And then that was like a form that she would just bring out every once in a while, and as such, it only aged during the time when she only aged in the time when she was in that form. She
could have even been transmuting memories over the course of this years in order to keep this thing powered so that she
stays young
forever.
Or something. Yeah. I could totally see that. Yep.
But the fact that she seemed to so willingly go to her death here, but also letting them do some kind of a power up, I really want to throw into this is all according to Cake. it's very, very convenient of a power-up, even though it's something that was foreshadowed with Hibiki. The fact that the character who came from the antagonists
Is the one
group
that makes
is the
it
one
for
that
them
made
and-
it for
yeah.
them and set this all up, and then the auto scores literally absorb Symphogear.
Right, like and
It's like they're
especially
basically powering up the food that these auto scorers will then take.
right. And given that Carol very much seemed to treat the auto scorers as like tools, you know, she has them stand on their pedestals and everything when they're not in use, you know,
Oh.
like different things like that.
Okay.
I would not be surprised at all if, because like the way that she just sort of had herself hold them off and everything. Now she told Mika to go, right? Okay, cool. That could be because she cares about Mika. Could be because
Sure.
it's a like a tactical play. But then she very much sacrificed herself like she was another piece, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I'm curious
a
what
lot for her as a
the angle
character.
is with that, right? Because
And it's such a powerful moment for her as a character that I don't want this to be her final moment, because I want
You
to
want to
know
see more of the character.
of who this is and
Right.
what kind of stuff would drive them to choose this as opposed to any other strategy.
right.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We will.
Miku again coming in clutch with the, hey, guys, this isn't anything new.
Yeah.
Just believe in each other and in,
Right.
and in your Symphogear. And
If
those-
the Symphogear is made for saving people and it saved plenty of people before, guess
Have it
who it's
save
also
yourself.
saved a lot?
Yeah.
You guys, because
Yeah.
you've been fighting all this time. I would know because I don't have Symphogear,
and it saved me.
it saves me, and I can see all the times that it saved you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then of course, shortly thereafter, she's like, I don't really do much to help. And it's like, no. Shush.
Yeah,
You do
exactly.
plenty.
You're so helpful.
Yep.
The inner worlds that they occupied
Yeah.
were really interesting. I'm a sucker for that trope in
Oh, me too.
fantastical stories, where
Yep.
you have basically the characters that have to overcome a struggle that is internal, primarily one of the mind, not necessarily one that is even a real struggle, but it's tied to some aspect of their psyche that is slightly frail, like
Yeah.
something that is a little bit weaker. And it gets a lot of pressure put onto it, and they originally succumb. It's not something that they can overcome
On their own, yeah.
individually. And then some aspect of it where they lean on others in the midst of that trial was all done in like 3 minutes, basically, in one
Yep.
episode here. So it's like, okay, cool. Was the struggle really like that great? Well,
The bit of Tsubasa's dad, that was an interesting set of information that we got, you know?
right. But I definitely felt it when they were struggling.
Yeah. Like,
It doesn't undo the fact that that is something that they still struggle with. It's just, would I have liked to have maybe a little bit more? Like, sometimes I feel like the show is almost too fast. Like, I would love to have moments like this get delved into more so we can learn a little bit more about the character's internal contradictions.
Right.
Because I feel like Chris, for instance, is one of the most fascinating characters in terms of
Same.
her contradictions.
Yep.
But we don't get enough time with her actually being introspective. And it's because I would say the style of the show is more for that, manic
yeah.
excitement.
Hype, action,
Yeah.
and then like sweet, adorable stuff
Yeah,
happening.
and then there's some deep stuff here for sure, but I wish that we got more time to settle and we got. But I feel like the monologuing, if you will, the time they were talking with themselves, really made sure that they emphasized exactly what aspect of this was a struggle for
Right.
the characters. So,
and I did appreciate that
was
in
really
particular for Chris because it's
Yeah.
something where Chris is the previous antagonist, right? You know, from way back in season 1.
Way
and
back,
it's
yeah.
very easy for those kinds of struggles to sort of be forgotten,
Right.
But she was like the epitome of like girl with the tragic backstory, right? You know, that ends up getting brought into this group.
and season 2, they re-emphasized her, desire to feel accepted and belonging,
Yeah.
understood, if you will.
a lot of that more positive stuff because okay, she's at the school, they're able to have singing competitions,
Yeah.
like the silly stuff like that that's part of the everyday life that you would hope she would be able to get, right? But when it gets into okay, let's go into her head and her insecurities and her deepest darkest fears that she wouldn't talk about with people, right? With Tsubasa, it's a lot more obvious and straightforward because of the kind of person that she is, right? Her job, Kanade, and now her father. Okay.
The way the father rejected her by basically saying you were just a tool of the Kazanari, which is interesting. Because
Yeah, that's okay. We'll
that's
have to
ju-
get into that a bit more.
right. That's drawing the line between families and how two families can have the hold over one child, basically because of lineage. So that's also
Sure.
rather interesting. But the idea then that she's also been stuck in a very idyllic kind of identity of I'm either the perfect weapon or I am the perfect voice. Like I can't be
both.
I can't be both.
Yeah.
And thus when I'm called upon to be a weapon, that's got to obviously bring up that turmoil again of, wait,
Right.
is this the thing that, made my father reject me?
Sure.
Who's to say?
Yeah. But then with Chris,
it feels more tied into the Carol situation, maybe with the idea of being accepted and understood
Sure, yeah.
and
Well,
finding a place where you belong.
And just that even though she's had some great moments at the high school and everything, and she's had some great laughs and adorable moments, and it's great to get to see them again in flashbacks, the past cannot be erased.
Yeah.
Right? And I appreciate that.
Yeah. So overall, just crazy exciting episode
Yep.
and really fun designs.
Yes.
For the Berserk Symphogear.
Right. Yeah, those were awesome. The Carol transformation, that was some Kill la Kill level shit right there.
With the threads, oh my
yeah,
god.
Yeah. I'm like,
I was just like, wait,
okay.
What?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and
sure.
then like the way she's like assessing her boobs and is like, yes, these will do.
These will do just fine.
Right.
It's
And
like,
then Chris being like, just because you're bigger, you think you're better or now or whatever now. Or
I think
like,
Tsubasa said
Tsubasa said that, and it's like, yes, you're definitely just talking about the fact that she got taller, right?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, because she was making the joke of how you guys are basically just gonna be crying and that you couldn't have gone
yes.
all out
Because I was
little, such a child.
Yeah.
So now you have no excuse. You better go all out.
Right.
Which again feels like it could be tied into the whole thing that this was a plan staged so that they could have a super farm of Symphogear that then they could absorb.
Like,
so we'll see.
Hibiki showing up kind of felt like it didn't change too much other than helping them actually have the transformation. Like you feel
Well,
like
it changed a lot.
No, right, because they ended up being able to have the full transformation. But like even if they had transformed and it was just the two of them, I think they still would have been able to beat her. Like because this was a stomp. Like
It felt like a stomp. Yeah,
like-
it did. Yeah, but that might also be because Hibiki was the one primarily doing a lot of the stomping because
And Hibiki
she's the
is
most used
kind of a
to
monster.
fighting in this form as well.
sure,
So that too.
that's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all of this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
Next time.